In this edition of Detroit Performs, an artist beautifies the faces around her.
Just to actually be able to apply art to people's faces in a way that you can wear in society. I mean, makeup is a socially accepted way of wearing, pigment on your face every day.
CriticCar Detroit shares with us some more citizen reviews.
I like these sculptures behind me, especially the rabbit, the smaller one of the two. I really like the colors, I like the playfulness.
Pewabic Pottery collaborates with DMC's Children's Hospital of Michigan.
For the DMC project in the Children's Outpatient Building, the intent was to create something that felt open and airy, that really children would respond to.
And an artist who brings West African roots and global aesthetic to American galleries.
You come to his work and you see that clearly it's something from Africa or from a place that you're not familiar with, and it makes you question yourself and your place in the world and your relationship with other spaces.
It's all ahead on today's episode of Detroit Performs.
Major funding for Detroit Performs is provided by the McGregor Fund. Additional funding is provided by the Michigan Council for Arts and Cultural Affairs and the National Endowment for the Arts, and by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to Detroit Performs, everybody. I am your host, DJ Oliver, and I'm coming to you from Greenfield Village, part of the Henry Ford Museum in Dearborn. Detroit's past is filled with people creating and performing their craft, and this is a place to see our nation's historical crafts come to life. In fact, they have people acting and creating forms of art. I'll be taking you to those areas later, but right now, though, we're headed to the Makeup Loft in Plymouth, where we meet Dearborn native Janelle Thomason, who not only creates beautiful art on her models, but she's generated her own makeup line, which she uses every day. Here is Janelle and the Makeup Loft.
I've been in love with makeup as early as I can remember. I remember being 4 years old and taking flower petals from my grandparents' backyard and rubbing them all over my face to create pigment, and then trying to sell them off the front porch. I think a neighbor felt sorry for me and gave me about a dime. My love for applying makeup actually came from realizing the difference between what was real and unreal. So looking at a magazine, looking at the cover of Vogue long enough to realizing, wow, that's shadowing. That's not that model, that's shadowing, that's makeup. Wow. And then I remember that really kind of changing my whole mind on everything, realizing what you could really do with makeup. And that's when I completely fell in love. Just to actually be able to apply art to people's faces in a way that you can wear in society. I mean, makeup is a socially accepted way of wearing, pigment on your face every day. That excited me about the way that you could change the way that you look, and you could change the way that people feel just based on, some shades. For this, I chose eggplants. There's a little bit of brick in there. She has a little bit of a peach base for a highlight. She has dark hair and brown eyes, so this is definitely a wonderful situation where you can add a lot of color to the face. My time is split up between commercial work, editorial work, and the Makeup Loft. I've been with Fox Sports going on, I think it's almost over 3 years now. That's where I got my Emmy nomination from. I love working with them. I have a lot of editorial clients too. I do a lot of set work, shoots. And then the Makeup Loft. The Makeup Loft is my child. It is my ever-growing little baby. Clients as a whole deserved better than just, going to a makeup counter. I wanted a real encompassing full service of cosmetics, and that is where the Makeup Loft started. I started above a small photography studio in Canton. It was based with bridal, and it never occurred to me before that bridal was a full industry. And from that point on, it just really took off when I really started catering to my brides. We do about 150 weddings a year, my staff and I. So the Makeup Loft has grown from specializing in bridal now to our full line of cosmetics, doing all sorts of different things, and I hope that it continues to grow. When I look at someone's face, I instantly know what I'm going to do, especially if it's a client. With a client from the Makeup Loft, I have a little bit more of a job to do with pleasing them personally as to on set, where I have to please my producers and my directors and the whole scope of what we're filming. But I instantly know what I'm going to do. It's like a snapshot vision in my head. I can't even explain it. It's not something that I look at specifically. It's just a full encompassing of the face, and like that, I know what I'm going to do. There's a lot more psychology to it than people really understand, especially when you're dealing with the public. Everyone has a different vision of what beauty is, and you really have to kind of tap into their psyche and figure out, what does this person think is beautiful, and how can I bring that to life for them? How can I portray that for them in the mirror? I have to understand that and then try to, top that. I want my clients to look like themselves, but a more polished version of themselves. I'm more of a naturalist. I have a love for things that glow. I just think a woman, for her to look really fresh and polished, she needs to have a sense of glow. It's all about letting that inner beauty kind of shine throughout the skin. And when I choose colors, it's usually based on their hair color, eye color, skin tone. I try to keep it a neutral color family, but I'm always keen to peaches, rose golds, bronze, things like that. My creation of the cosmetic line was always a goal of mine. I think it's a goal of a lot of different makeup artists, to have at your fingertips all the different formulas and the products that you love. It's taken me about 3 years to actually finally get it on my shelves. Basically, I realized through the years of the different kind of formulas that I needed and the different pigments, and finding that from one line is very difficult. And I also needed products not only that my clients could use, but that I could use. I need things that I can use on set, and I do. I only use my foundations when I work on set and for bridal. It's the only thing I'll use. I always tell my staff, and it's something I learned early in my career, you have to leave your ego at home. When you're dealing with a client, especially in makeup, you have to aim to please. It's not about your envision for that client, it's about their envisionment for themselves, and then your talent making that happen. My favorite part of applying makeup is just about everything. There isn't a single part of it that I don't enjoy. I absolutely love it. It is my passion, it's my life. I've been asked before whether I like set work more so than bridal, and I love them equally. They're two different birds, There isn't a single aspect I don't love. I love the challenge. It is challenging, to have this creation and this idea in your mind of what you can portray on someone else's skin and bring it to life. I was always told when I was young that my mom always said, find something that you love to do and make money at it. And I've always had a goal for myself to be as happy as I possibly can be. I know that life is short, and I want to enjoy every moment of that. So I take being happy very seriously. It's a goal I create for myself every day to be happy and to be completely fulfilled, and my work gives me that.
To find out more about Janelle, as well as all the other artists shown here today, head to DetroitPerforms.org. Next up, we have a special back-to-back edition of CriticCar Detroit as they visit both the Michigan Science Center and the Library Street Collective. Let's check it out.
Hi, my name is Kelly Saperstein. I'm at the Library Street Collective. I'm really having a lot of fun here at the gallery opening. And I like these sculptures behind me, especially the rabbit, the smaller one of the two. I really like the colors, I like the playfulness. I think it's really neat to be, in here and see all the different artists in Detroit.
Hi, my name is Angela. I'm enjoying my time at the Michigan Science Center. We really enjoyed the show, especially all the information about digestion.
Hi, I'm Kristen. We just saw the Igor digestion show. The best part were the giant, huge lips eating that poor girl. I loved her face and the giant, huge lips and the end of that with the toilet paper.
You can view more CriticCar Detroit citizen reviews on their Facebook page and YouTube channel, which you can find through DetroitPerforms.org. Pewabic Pottery is a nationally recognized institution with ceramic tile installations spanning all across the country, including Comerica Park in Detroit. Here, Genevieve Sylvia takes us to some of her favorite projects and highlights of a recent collaboration with Detroit Medical Center's Children's Hospital of Michigan.
I think Pewabic and the tile that we're making here are both a continuation of our history, but also making new history. It's making the history that we're going to read about hopefully in 50 years, 60 years, 100 years. It's one of the things I love about participating in this collaboration with this team of artists here, as I think that, and it's what's kept me here for so long. You can always, you're pulling from your historical, but like on the fireplace behind us here, it's something that also feels contemporary. That is a departure from what people would really see as our typical traditional Pewabic. It's out of the grid, it's free form, it feels more open, and it's one of the things I love most about Pewabic and my time here, and why I've continued to stay here, is it continues to grow and change and be incredibly interesting for me here.
We're at Children's Hospital of Michigan in the Detroit Medical Center, where Pewabic Pottery has created these beautiful murals based on the 4 seasons. Art in the hospital is more than just decoration. It's about reducing the stress and anxiety of our patients and families, and it's about providing better quality of care.
For the DMC project in the children's outpatient building, the intent was to create something that felt open and airy, that really children would respond to. And that's how the seasonal trees came about in the, these are 10-foot trees by a 91-foot wall of seasonal trees, of winter to fall to summer. And it was also an added attraction for me, is that the kids at the hospital were going to be able to come through and make a tile that they could then add to that mural, so it was interactive. So once we have the drawing that's been approved, all the work has to be made, all the parts have to be made, all the pieces. So initially we are making the clay to fabricate this mural. Molds have to be made. So the drawing, this large drawing that we did for the DMC children's mural, has to be essentially dissected, taken apart. Slabs of clay have to be fabricated, so that we're then taking these like mosaic puzzle pieces and cutting them out in the clay. Molds are made for the grass at the bottom of the mural. We sculpt the original and then plaster's poured over the clay to make your master molds, and then multiple molds are made. From there, it goes to your glaze making. So the clients established all the glazes that they want to make and use in this mural, so we have to mix all these glazes to make sure that the test tile looks like the sample that the client approved. So all these glazes are mixed here and tested prior to being applied over the ceramic tile parts. And after that is done, it goes through its final firing process in the kilns. Some of the projects that I've been involved with initially, when I came here, it was the Belial Restoration Project. We've worked on the Comerica Park, Detroit, the Tiger murals there, the DMC, Children's Outpatient. There's also the DMC Emergency Room mural that has a collection of mural artists that did installations there. There's a fountain at Beaumont Hospital. It just goes on and on. The outreach programs that we do through our education department, so you really are creating our next appreciators, our next lovers of ceramics, lovers of tile, lovers of Pewabic. My dream really for the pottery is, although I have a commitment to the history here and it's the greens, the blues, that's really what people recognize, the iridescence, it's what people recognize and want out of the pottery. I'm hopeful that we'll continue the collection with new forms, new shapes, and I really am hoping that I'm going to be a part of kind of these new collections, of the new look. We were asked once, the pottery was asked once, would you ever relocate to a suburb? There's no way that could happen. The pottery wouldn't be the pottery without this place in this location in Detroit.
To find out more about Pewabic Pottery, as well as all the other artists shown here today, head to DetroitPerforms.org. Now let's take a look at some upcoming events happening in and around Detroit. The celebrated work of West African artist Anatsui II is all about transformation. Using found materials such as printing plates, condensed milk tins, and aluminum bottle caps, L's artwork draws on aesthetic traditions from his native country and various Western art forms. His 40-year retrospective reveals L's creative process and global approach to art.
I think art should allow us to question our own experiences and challenge us to want to know more about others. Specifically for the work of Anatsui, it's very easy to do that. You come to his work and you see that clearly it's something from Africa or from a place that you're not familiar with, and it makes you question yourself and your place in the world and your relationship with other spaces.
This is a retrospective of his 40-year career.
Seeing 40 years of my work brought together under one roof is humbling. You know, it gives me the feeling of exhilaration. It's like having a reunion, you know, of people who have met so many years back. You go through some of the earlier work and gives you the sense that you actually didn't take a big leap, but that what you were doing was taking little steps to get to this stage.
This is an extraordinary opportunity for people to really look at an artist, how he has changed, how his ideas have changed over time, and you don't often see that.
Ella's a very quiet man, very private person, but someone who loves to engage with individuals that he meets all over the world, and he loves to engage with people about art.
Well, he's certainly an internationally known artist. He was pretty well known in Africa for the first 30 years and known in Europe as well.
He remains very important in Africa, specifically West Africa. He's from Ghana, but has lived and worked in Nigeria since 1975 and is very well known there.
But he really burst onto the international scene in about 2007 when he began creating a series of these metal wall sculptures.
For me, the amazing thing about Anatsui's work is that it's so accessible. Design people can engage with it, craft people can engage with it, painters can engage with it, and the backstory of it, the use of recycled, reused bottle caps, it's so very current to issues going on in the world, and the story is intimate to the history of West Africa as well.
There came a time that I developed the affinity for only material that has seen some use, that has had some contact with people. I find that they have something rich about them, maybe something psychic or spiritual. It kind of builds a bond between me and anybody who has had a reaction with the object.
His work is made of the things of life, of the things that we experience in our everyday world. And so we're able to come to it with our own experiences and say, okay, I understand that. That's something that's in my world too.
I like the idea of picking commonplace things and giving them a new lease of life. Most of the time, the media that I've worked with came in inadvertently. It has to announce itself or bring itself in surreptitiously.
Al uses very ordinary materials to create incredible works of art. He uses these pieces in installations or in single works to tell very personal stories, sometimes his own personal stories, and other times to tell universal stories or stories about African history.
Almost all the works I've done, all the phases that I've passed through could be linked one way or another with history. Not that I was trying to recount history, but was kind of looking at history as something that reflects back to me.
This is my 5th time installing this exhibition, so it's wonderful for me to see it installed in a different space each time because the pieces take on a whole new life. The Denver Art Museum is going to be fantastic because of all the angles.
The Libeskind building is perfect for an artist such as Elle, who makes work specifically to adapt to the environment in which it's displayed. It's meant to be different every time it's installed.
Our walls are challenging. They slant outward. And so how do you hang them? Because they can't be hung flat on a wall. So we work with forklifts. We work with teams of people to shape them. And that's what I get to do. And so I have someone in the back and I'm in the front and I'm literally lifting up the pieces and saying, okay, let's put a hook here. And then I'll step back and say, that doesn't work. Take that out. So it's a process that you work on for a couple of hours to shape each of these pieces. And it is great fun because I get to create along with the artist. It is a complete joy to hang his works, whether they're hanging, whether they're on platforms. There's no one right way to do it. Most artists have a particular way that they'd like the piece to be seen. They create it in a certain way, and they like it presented in a certain way. And Elle encourages everyone to shape the pieces as they see fit for their spaces. I think art should inspire you. You can walk through here and see just a tremendous amount of beauty. I think it should tell stories. I think it should matter to you.
To find out more about Anatsui as well as all the other artists shown here today, head to DetroitPerforms.org. And that wraps it up for this edition of Detroit Performs. As always, for more arts and culture, head to DetroitPerforms.org, where you'll find featured videos, blogs, and information on upcoming arts events. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. I'd like to thank Greenfield Village for taking us on this journey through the past on their expansive lot. Now, if you haven't been down here before, make it a point to come. And if you have been down here before, then you know how much fun it is. So come on back. Until then, get out there and show the world how Detroit performs, y'all. I am DJ Oliver. Thanks for watching, guys.
Major funding for Detroit Performs is provided by the McGregor Fund. Additional funding is provided by the Michigan Council for Arts and Cultural Affairs and the National Endowment for the Arts, and by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.